Hi everyone, Mike here, and this time I'm doing something a bit different. I was contacted by Breachstorm, who is currently doing a Kickstarter, and they asked me if they could send me one of their minis. I agreed, partly because I love to help people get their projects going, and partly because I thought it would be fun to paint a mystery miniature. So you can see what arrived is an insectoid type creature, and it's called the Volgox Howler or the Hive Commander. I'm going to start this guy off with a better base by using a bit of corkboard and some earth texture. This is dark earth from Vallejo, and I'm going to use it for dirt, but also as a glue to hold down the corkboard. I'm just smearing a bunch of this onto the base and then pressing the cork right into it. This miniature also arrived with a piece of basing material that looks like a broken wall with some rebar embedded in it. I don't want to waste this, so I'm going to super glue it on top of the cork. I'm then dry fitting the Hive Commander where I think it looks best, and marking where each of its feet are touching the base. I'm then adding a bit of super glue to each of these spots and sitting the commander back into place. And finally, I'm adding a bit more earth texture to the top of the cork and a bit more around the edges so that I can use it to cement down a couple skulls. I'm giving that a couple hours to dry before spraying the whole thing with a black primer. The first color I'm using is Xereus Purple, and I'm going to use this to trace all of the grooves that are in the exoskeleton. Next I'm switching to Naggaroth Night, and I'm painting all of the areas that look like they might be a bit fleshy, such as the face, the back, and the lower abdomen. Next I'm painting the exoskeleton, and I'm going to use two colors for this. First, I'm covering the entire thing with XV88. I'm also covering most of the larger arms with this, but leaving the smaller arms. Once that's done, I'm mixing together equal parts XV88 and Rhinox hide. This color is going to be used on the underside of the exoskeleton on the legs. You can also use this on the remaining limbs and bits of exoskeleton, or you can do what I did and switch to pure Rhinox hide for the rest. The last thing I'm going to paint before starting the base are all the claws and spikes sticking out of the commander. These are along the feet and hands, but there's also some along the abdomen, head, and the back. These are the colors I'll be using for the base. I'm starting off by painting all the rocky bits with 2 parts Mechanicus Standard Grey and 1 part Stegadon Scale Green. Then I'm mixing this color into some Steel Legion Drab to create a putrid looking mud color. I'm going to paint this over all of the earth texture. And finally, the 2 skulls that I added are getting a base coat of Zandri dust. I just noticed that I missed a bit of exoskeleton on the face, so I'm going to give that a quick coat of XV88. The last thing to paint before starting the shading is the small bit of metal and rebar on the included piece of basing material. Any metal color would do for this. For the shading, I'm going to use equal parts of Agrax Earthshade and Nuln Oil, and this is going to be used on the entire miniature and the base. After I've added the wash to the leg armor here, I'm stopping to use a damp brush to clean out these grooves. If the wash does end up hiding the purple color, it's very easy to fix. Once the wash is dried, I'm going to do some minor highlights and touch-up, starting with a reapplication of the XV88 to the upper surface of the exoskeleton, or I may just trace some areas that I want to stand out more. Next I've mixed equal parts Xereus Purple and Naggaroth Night, and I'm tracing the raised ridges and the fleshy spots. Finally, for the commander, I'm going to paint the eyes. There are 3 on each side, and I'm giving each one a small touch of Mephiston red. After that, I'm giving each a second dab of paint, this time from Evil Sunz Scarlet. The base is going to get 3 colors of dry brushing. I'm first dry brushing all the earth texture with Steel Legion Drab, as well as the legs of the commander. All of the rocky bits are getting a layer of Celestra gray. And finally, the 2 skulls are getting a layer of Karak stone. I'm also going to use some of this in random spots on the earth texture. The final step before spraying the miniature with a matte varnish is to paint the base. I'm just going to go with a pure black for this. And there you have it, a very quick paint job for the Hive Commander from Breachstorm, live on Kickstarter until May 16th. If you want to see any other miniatures painted from this game, there's one from Kenny Boucher over at Next Level Painting, and I'll post a link for that if you want to check it out as well. Thank you to all my patrons for supporting the creation of these videos, and a special thanks to Brian Jones for sponsoring the channel. I hope you found this video interesting, and thank you very much for watching.